Welcome to the Deep Dive. Late September 2025. It really delivered some jarring headlines.
Didn't it just?
We saw Russian drones deliberately violating Polish airspace. It's NATO airspace.
Right. A serious provocation.
And then Israel launching this unprecedented airstrike in Doha, targeting Hamas leadership.
A huge move. Risky.
And closer to home, the assassination of conservative activist Charlie Kirk, right on a Utah University campus. These weren't, random events.
No, not at all. And what's really unsettling, I think, is how they connect. They feel like violent symptoms of a world stuck in what some are calling a polycrisis.
Polycrisis. Explain that a bit.
Yeah, it's where these external threats, like the drones and our internal fractures, they aren't just happening at the same time. They're actually feeding each other, making each other worse.
Okay.
And that Kirk assassination, it's just a chilling example of what can happen, when the talking stops.
That's a very stark way to put it. So given these deep problems, our mission in this deep dive isn't just to dwell on them.
Right. We need a way forward.
Exactly. We want to explore that path forward.
Yeah.
Because getting to a resilient democracy, it seems to demand what we're calling a dual imperative.
Meaning,
simultaneously rebuilding our hard power, military strength to deter enemies and fundamentally renewing our social contract, healing ourselves from within.
And these two things are linked.
Profoundly linked, as we'll see. One really can't succeed without the other.
Okay, so let's unpack that. How did we get so fractured internally?
Well, to really understand why things feel so volatile, you almost have to go back to the 2008 financial crisis. Remember quantitative easing?
Oh, yeah. Central banks pumping massive amounts of money into the system.
Exactly. And that essentially became what some call a great risk transfer, pushing immediate economic pain onto society's sort of long-term health.
And the impact of that was huge, wasn't it? By flooding the system with cheap money, it inflated asset values, stocks, property.
Things the wealthy tend to own more of.
Precisely. So get this. Since 2019, nearly 5 billion people have actually gotten poorer. Meanwhile, billionaires' wealth, it's surged by trillions.
Wow.
This great divergence, as it's called, that's like the master vulnerability for our societies. It's corroded trust, fueled resentment, created these sort of tribes.
Fighting over what seems like a shrinking pie.
Exactly. And that's the soil where political violence, once unthinkable, sadly becomes a tragic reality.
It's sobering how those decisions echo today. And this internal weakness, it makes us vulnerable, right?
Right.
The outside world sees these cracks.
Absolutely. Look at the Russian drone incident over Poland. That felt like a deliberate test, didn't it? Probing NATO's readiness, its political will.
Thankfully, the response seemed competent. Drones shot down. Article 4 invoked for consultation.
Yeah, mature crisis management, which is good because it's happening just as democracies are rearming. We're seeing this sort of alliance vanguard taking shape.
Like Poland spending nearly 5% of its GDP on defense.
Exactly. Or the UK's massive shipbuilding plan, over 150 vessels. Australia getting nuclear subs through AUKUS. Even Canada talking about a nation-building defense plan aiming for maybe 5% GDP by 2035.
So a real push on hardware, on external strength.
Definitely. But that external shield, it's protecting a body that's still sick inside.
Which brings us back to the Israeli strike in Qatar.
Right. That's the warning sign. An act by a key U.S. partner in an ally's territory, shattering a peace process. It signals this crisis of confidence within the Western alliance.
So cohesion is fraying.
It seems like it. And the big lesson from late 2025 has to be this. Our external strength is directly fundamentally tied to internal cohesion. Without one, the other it can't hold.
Okay, so if that's the diagnosis, what's the prescription? How do we fix things? How do we move past this divergence?
Well, we have to invest in what you might call the software of security.
Software.
Yeah, the social cohesion, the trust, the shared purpose that makes a nation truly resilient. Think about Finland and Sweden, their total defense models.
That's the whole of society approach, right?
Exactly. It includes things like psychological resilience against disinformation, basically building up our collective mental immune system against narratives designed to tear us apart.
So how do we do that, practically speaking?
Well, we can adapt these ideas. Take big public projects like Canada's planned Arctic ports or those British warships we mentioned. These could deepen divides
Or they could be tools for healing.
Precisely. Imagine mandating community benefit agreements, CBAs, for these projects.
Explain CBAs quickly.
They're basically legally binding contracts ensuring local jobs, apprenticeships, maybe affordable housing are built into the project. It turns that defense dividend into shared prosperity. It directly fights the inequality that tries us apart.
Okay, that tackles the economic side. What about the toxic discourse, the kind that led to the Kirk tragedy?
Yeah, we desperately need to relearn how to talk to each other. Maybe draw some inspiration from the old Scottish Enlightenment, reason, debate, empiricism.
How do you make that happen today?
One idea is using deliberative democracy initiatives like citizens' assemblies. You bring together a representative cross-section of everyday people.
Like a jury, but for policy.
Sort of, yeah. Get them to tackle complex, divisive issues, energy policy, climate risks, indigenous rights, but focus the process on finding common ground, on mutual respect, not just winning arguments.
Interesting. And you mentioned disinformation earlier.
Crucial. A national commitment to media literacy education, starting right in schools. This isn't a nice to have. It's a national security imperative today. It's the modern psychological defense against information warfare.
So, looking back at September 2025, it really was a wake-up call then, clarifying the way forward.
Yeah, I think.
This dual imperative, it's not choosing between guns and butter, is it?
No, not at all. It's recognizing a nation's strength is forged both in its shipyards and in its communities. You need the military hardware, absolutely. But you also need the software that cohesive, engaged, resilient society.
The tools seem to be there. CBAs, citizens' assemblies, media literacy, tools to bring tribes together, reinvest in that social contract, build, realistic hope.
They are within our grasp, because this narrative that we're in inevitable decline, that's just a self-fulfilling prophecy if we let it be.
Which leaves just one question, really. Do we collectively have the will to actually use these tools?